Hi loves, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am on a walk again. After I put the last episode out there, I received some lovely feedback, and one that really stuck out at me was that someone said, I literally felt like I was on your walk with you, and that felt really nice. And I'm like, well, let's do it again then. I will always stand up for being and leading as an example of showing up wholeheartedly. And I'm not going to lie, that sometimes means that I am hovering over the publish button, being like, is this just a little bit too imperfect? But then I know that it's not just like what I'm saying, but it's how I'm saying it that has an impact. And if me showing up in this way gives even just one woman permission to be able to show up imperfectly, then I am living and working and stepping and being in my purpose. So yeah, let's just rock on with this episode. And I wanted to talk to you today about pivoting in your business and your brand. And I'm not talking about pivoting in the way that you're probably hearing a lot at the moment. We're hearing it a lot in terms of maybe you've been working in person and you're pivoting to working online, or maybe you have been talking kind of about one certain message and you're pivoting that message to suit this COVID-19 time that we find ourselves in. That's not the pivot I'm talking about. Pivot I'm talking about today is when you feel like you want to change up what it is that you're doing. So maybe you have started your brand and you've been kind of going towards one course of action and one direction, but in the course of doing the work and scoping out all of the stuff that you do when you are starting your brand, who it is you want to do it for, why it is that you're doing, what exactly is you're offering, what impact you want to have in the world, you start to realise that actually maybe this isn't it. Maybe there is something else that you want to be talking about and something else that you want to be helping to do. And very often then you have all of those feelings of, but I've already done so much work in this direction. How can I move? Or am I? A story that comes up a lot for women is they then feel like they're being flaky, or that they are flirting around with ideas and not being consistent, and they think, no, I must stay on this course of action because this is what I've started on, and maybe I've told people, and maybe I've started that Instagram account and got all of the bits sorted out. I can't possibly change my mind. And what I want you to know is that you can absolutely change your mind, that it's okay to follow those nuggets. And what I would say is allow yourself to just get quiet and then ask yourself the question, if I wasn't worried about what other people would think, what would I want to do? And how would I want to be showing up? And within that, you'll find your answer. I also think that when you are embarking on this work, you uncover so many different things about yourself, about your motivations, about your why, about the deep down impacts that you want to have, that your vision should change, that it should evolve and up level, because as the possibilities are opened up to you, you're like, yeah, actually, I can do this. I can have this impact on these people. And so naturally, Whether that makes you then deepen into what it is you want to do, or widen the scope of it, or change the scope slightly, that's completely natural. Often we think that the action we're taking has to set us down a certain direction forever, and that's it, laid out in stone. But it doesn't have to be that way. So allow yourself to be playful and get curious and to experiment. So how about if you were to try something for a little while, see how it goes, see how you feel, and let your brand be more of, it's like a flower that's blooming rather than something stagnant. Because then you're allowing yourself flexibility and freedom. And ultimately, it was freedom that you were seeking when you decided to start this thing anyway. It was freedom to make money in the way that you wanted to. It may also have been freedom of time. It was freedom of your voice, to use it in a way that you can't do in corporate. And it also means that you have the freedom to choose. So I also know that some of you will call yourselves flaky for changing the decision, and you may also question where the motivation is coming from, because sometimes we are hiding behind changing our minds so that we don't have to follow through the course of action that we said we wanted to do in the beginning, because as it gets right up close and personal, it starts to get scary. And sometimes fear will have us say, no, shiny object over there, go for that. Especially if you are someone who has a lot of ideas, gets really excited at the idea stage, but when it comes to the actual follow through, the implementation and the execution of the ideas, that's when it kind of falls off and you're like, right, next thing on the list. So for those of you that I'm talking and you're like, maybe it is fear rather than it being a kind of more genuine desire to do something else. It's just to sit in that and reflect and get really real with yourself, and then turn to your journal and make a list and say, what am I afraid of? What actions do I know that I need to take? What am I afraid of? And when you see that list looking back at you in black and white, then you'll know is actually it's not the overall vision that needs to change. It's my relationship to the fear that I feel around it. So my loves, that was a short and sweet one on my walk. I think we got cars in the background. We certainly got a siren that I can hear. It's a lovely, gloriously sunny day, a little bit breezy in London town. So again, I hope that you can hear me. I hope that you will forgive me for the sound quality, but also I hope that it gives you permission to show up perfectly imperfect for yourself and your brand this week. If you haven't already downloaded my 7 secrets to being seen and heard, even when you've only got a few hours a day, mini guide, then do so. Link is in bio. And if you want somebody to support you and really coach you through walking through the fear and getting to the other side, then DM me and let me see how I can help. Okay, my loves, enjoy the rest of your day.